want you to lift your voice with us. Come on, play it one more time, play it one more time. Put your hands together as we give God praise. Come on. Here we go. Lord, you are good. Say, Lord, you are good, and your mercy endures forever. Does anybody know that? Forever. Come on. Lord, you are good, and your mercy endures forever. People from every nation, people from every nation and tongue, from generation to generation, we worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. Come on, sing it again. We worship. time and time again, you have proven you do just what you say. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Yes, Lord. Great is your faithfulness to me. Oh, yes. As the seasons change, but you remain the same. Come on, God from age to age. Oh, God from age to age. Though the earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Yeah, history can prove there's nothing you can't do. You're faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Yeah. Great is your faithfulness to from the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me.
Your faithfulness never runs out.
It never runs out.
It never runs out.
Never runs out.
Oh, Lord, your faithfulness, it never runs out.
Never runs out.
It never runs out.
Never runs out.
I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another courageous conversation. Here at Fellowship Hi-Crest, we've started doing these because we wanted to make sure that we were able to have conversations that maybe other places in our community were afraid to have on different topics that are affected our community both here locally and nationally and abroad. And so tonight we look at living wage. Our first one was over how to practice presence in neglected neighborhoods. And then our next one was over the COVID-19 vaccine. But tonight we are welcomed with a mixed panel and a great moderator to dig into this topic because we feel like while nationally we can't get these topics right, they're here locally, that we're better than that, and that we can come to some kind of conclusion to help us take our next step in leaning into these topics. Our moderator for this evening is none other than Miss Danielle Norwood. Danielle is making her mark in the broadcasting community in Northeast Kansas as the host of the Danielle Norwood Show and co-anchor of the new Inspire KTWU TV show. She often is known for her tagline, add some sass and some class to your date. Her show focuses on highlighting nonprofits and community events in the Topeka community. And so she's known to make a benefit and an impact on her community, whether it's in the studio or out in the community. Her goal is to get people to move from the sidelines of life to actually using their gifts and talents to impact those around them. So with nothing else, I'm going to hand it over to our moderator for the evening, Ms. Danielle Norwood.
Thank you. Jonathan, thank you for inviting me to do this tonight. It is an honor. And can we do one thing real quick? Can we all get together? I would love for us to be community closer together. I want to feel some love from the audience if we could all just kind of scrunch together a little closer so we could feel connected for tonight's conversation. And to say thank you ahead of time to all of our panelists for sharing, because it's not easy to be up in front of people and share your truth. So I'm so grateful that each of them have decided to do that. So tonight's topic is all about living wages, but what exactly does that mean? Because depending upon who you ask, you'll get a variety of answers about what a living wage is. So for the purposes of this conversation, let's define what a living wage is. A living wage is defined as a wage that is high enough to maintain a normal standard of living. So when did the minimum wage begin? The federal minimum wage was implemented in 1938 during the Great Depression under the Fair Labor Standards Act. Throughout the 1940s and the 60s, increases in the federal minimum wage kept pace with productivity growth as well as inflation. However, the federal minimum wage is currently $7.25 an hour and has not been raised since 2009. Hello. And there lies the problem. So I'm looking forward to hearing the perspective of our three panelists on this topic, and I hope that we will all listen with open ears and open minds. And I'm going to introduce Elizabeth first. Elizabeth Bethley has lived in Topeka for the last 10 years. She works as a deli manager for a local quick shop where she has been on staff for 3 years. Elizabeth proudly raised her daughters as a single mom, working 2 jobs. She's an expert thrift shopper, couponer, and bargain hunter. And if it's not a deal, it's staying on the rack. Amen, sister, I'm with you on that one. And she wants to share her stories and experiences of taking care of herself and her family while working jobs that pay less than a living wage. So, Elizabeth, thank you for being here tonight. Everybody knows George Kearse. He's a significant part of our community, and a significant trait that stands out about George Kearse is that he's approachable and he's always willing to share his thoughts about owning a small business. George is the owner of G's Cheesecakes and More, currently located at 821 Southwest 21st Street. He's been in business for 20 years, and he is well known for his excellent catering services in and around Topeka, serving a wide range of services services from the kids' lunch program, weddings, and corporate events. But he's best known, as I can also attest, for his excellent cheesecakes, which are freshly baked daily. George Kearse is also a strong advocate for the downtrodden, the addicted, hurting, and abused, and G's employs area residents and offers life-changing opportunities for people with a criminal past by providing on-the-job training, care, and mentoring. So let's welcome George to the panel. And lastly, but not least, we have Sylvia E. Ortiz. She was born and raised in Topeka and serves on the Topeka City Council representing District 3, which I found out is an extremely large area just a moment ago. She is a product of Topeka Public Schools. Sylvia Ortiz graduated from Topeka High and Ka Area Technical School, which is now known as WTI, Washburn Institute of Technology, receiving a degree in secretarial office education. She also attended Allen County Community College in Burlingame, Kansas. She's the mother to 3 young adults and granny to 4 grandchildren. Sylvia served as East Topeka South's Neighborhood Improvement Association president for over 10 years before she ran and was voted into the Topeka City Council of District 3 back in 2005. Ms. Ortiz will continue her efforts to support and inspire young people during her time as a city council member, and she will also love to receive any compliments at the above number, which is 785-357-0717. I love that you put that in there. That's awesome. Welcome, Sylvia Ortiz. So I'm going to ask each of you a question, but this is kind of, informal, so I would like each of you to interject and to add to the conversation as you see fit. And I would also love at the very end, we'll get questions from the audience, so please feel to join in the conversation. Elizabeth, I'm going to start with you. Would you share a little bit about your experience of living on a salary below a living wage?
It's very, very hard to try to make a living, even with being a manager. I went from making $8.75 an hour to $11 an hour, and even just to take care of me, it's very hard. I have to make a choice between how much money I can put towards rent, utilities, and food, and even gas in my car. So it's very hard.
Talk about a typical day for you, because I was surprised that you get up at 1:30 in the morning, which means that your bedtime is quickly coming.
Yes, my days that I work, I start at 1:30 in the morning so I can take care of my animals, get ready for work, have a little bit of breakfast, drive to work, and start my day. And I do the mornings by myself, biscuits and gravy, breakfast sandwiches, and then I go into lunch. And only 3 days a week I have my helper there, and he takes over after I get done. I usually don't get off work till probably some days 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So it makes it a very long day, and there is no way that I can work a second job.
And you said hypothetically you have 2 days off, but not really. Talk about that.
I have Saturday is my really my only full day off that I can basically have to myself to rest. Monday is my doctor day, and after I get done at the doctor, I have to go to work because I have to do the truck order so we can have our food order come in on Monday. I order a truck twice a week.
And you said you're responsible for all that food by
I'm
yourself.
responsible for all that food by myself.
My goodness. Talk about what your life is like. And you said that you couldn't possibly have a second job, which I don't know how you could, but talk about how you're dealing with things now.
I just live on a very tight budget. I see what I get paid weekly. So after I see what I get paid on Friday, that's how I decide what's going to get paid so I can keep my lights and my water and a roof over my head. Because the only other place I'd have to live is my van. And that'd be really hard with a dog and a cat.
And how would you deal with an emergency situation in terms of, something happening to your car or a household issue happening and you're having to attend to that? How would you deal with that financially?
if I have car issues, if one of the people I work with at work, she's at work at 5, so I'll miss an hour of work because she can come and pick me up and take me to work. And it's just very hard when the car breaks down. And right now, I have to replace my refrigerator, my dryer, and my window air conditioner. And that's going to cost a lot of money that I don't have.
What can you do? Or are there resources that you can turn to in terms of family members or friends?
Well, my one and only daughter, she is all the way in Manassas, Virginia. I have 2 sisters in Texas, and I have a brother and sister way out in western Kansas in Stockton. So it's basically, I'm by myself.
Okay.
I have very few resources. There's a few people I can call, but that list is very short.
George, I'm going to come to you. Are any of the things that Elizabeth shared with us familiar to your employees? And how does that impact you to hear these type of stories? Can you give us some examples?
Well, it hits home with me because, in this profession of service industry, you don't get paid a lot, and that's all I've ever done. I remember my first job making $5.50 an hour, and then you work yourself up to $7.50, and you're not really making much more than that. And it's a grind because you're living day to day and week to week, paycheck to paycheck. So it's I can identify with that. And my employees, some of them, same shoes. I've been in positions where I give advancements a lot because people were trying to keep their rent, get their cars fixed. I have delivery drivers. I have a delivery truck. If their car's not running, I'll let them use my truck because we have to get the food to the kids. So it's a grind, and I try to because I understand what people are going through, and it's hard to keep good health.
It's hard to keep good health, and I'm going to add another question to this, especially now. What are your challenges in trying to get more help? Because I see all over the place that there are fast food restaurants, hotels looking for help. Even at the radio station, we're looking for quality help, and it seems like we can't find anybody who really wants to work. So what's the challenge as a business owner in terms of today's condition?
Well, the challenge is to find consistency. I don't need perfection. I need consistency. And I need people that want to give 100% on a day-to-day basis. And I try to create an environment where you can come and you leave everything out of the workplace, and you can come in and you can get away. Because I'm not the kind of person that's gonna be like on you hard. I don't yell. There's no need to do that. I will try to instruct and just continue to instruct. But the main thing with me, I just need my employees to come to work every day because it's Monday through Friday. You get your weekends off. I've had individuals work for me that struggling with alcohol, and we dealt with it. We like, hey, what's your trigger? And okay, go outside and take a deep breath. And yeah, I mean, the guy smelled like a distillery, but when he came to work, he come to work every day. He did his job, but he was struggling with alcohol. And so, you know, you're just dealing with a multitude of things. And you're more than just an employer. You're more than a paycheck. Sometimes you find yourself being a counselor, and it's a lot. It's really a lot.
I'm sure it is. Sylvia, often you sit in the middle. So how has the existing tension between the business owner and the employee impacted how you lead?
Well, first I want to say to Elizabeth that there's help out there for you. And that's what I do. I connect the dots. I've been really blessed. I was a single mother of 3 children. And God put me in that position, so I understand. I understand her pain. I know that I know they have air conditioners. And Jonathan, I'll write you a check for Miss Elizabeth before I leave today to get her an air conditioner, so that's off your mind. But just know.
Thank you.
And I'm doing that from my heart. I'm not doing it for any recognition. Just know that there's help out there. And that's what I've done is I have learned the business owners like Mr. George. I've learned my constituents. And this year, COVID year, I've been the busiest I've ever been for the last 16 years because I had people out there that didn't know how they were going to pay their rent, didn't know how they were going to pay their bills, didn't know how they were going to continue their business, didn't know how they were going to do any of this because they lost their jobs. I even had people that didn't know how they were going to get through to the unemployment line. So I thank God for allowing me to connect the dots. I've met people, been able to say to business owners, here's a grant you don't have to pay back, just fill it out, send it in. When the grants came through and the money came through, when the people came through and they said, I need food, I need utilities, I need mortgage. When that federal funding came down, I thank God for the knowledge that I got that when those calls came through, I was able to say, here, fill this out, here, fill this out, go over here, go over here. I'm grateful that I've met Jonathan and all that he's done and learned about his experience here. And now I'm able to say, here's her money for hers or this one. And last year I gave for somebody, I don't even know who, I don't even care who. I've been in those shoes, so I understand. To the young people, I say to them, this is a perfect time to get any job you want. Right now, they're out there. And I try to push them and encourage them. But there's been a lot of people not knowing how they were going to survive this year. And just to see the smiles on their face and to connect those dots, it's just been awesome. It's been truly, truly awesome. So not only have I wore a government hat, I've turned into a social worker, which is okay. It's all right because I'm a servant and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, so I've walked into stores or businesses that said, we need help. Do you know of anybody that needs help? So when those people call, I can say, they're needing help, they're needing help, they're needing help, they're needing help. So it's just been really a blessing to see all the food giveaways, just to see just the different things from A to Z. We've never, ever had anything where they paid your mortgage and people were getting their mortgages paid and their rent paid. And that was just awesome just to give them that relief. It was just awesome to work with the young people to put, I was on a panel and we talked about the broadband before it really, really hit home. So I already had that information, and then 501 came out and said, we're going to give free broadband to every student. So I was already prepared, so to get them signed up and to get them understanding. So I'm grateful for that. So I'm a dot connector. That's what I do.
And you do a good job of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you're so accessible to your people. I love the fact that you feel like you're a servant to your constituents too, because I know other people in government who don't feel that and don't have the passion for their constituents like you do. So totally appreciate that. George, I'm going to go back to you because I'm kind of skipping around on my questions, but how did COVID impact you as a small business owner?
Oh, it's tough. You lose. It was real tough. It was because I have a lot of things going on. I'm a child care provider. I'm the only caterer in the city that caters to child cares. So we do about 600 meals a day, and then we have the restaurant, and then we do caterings. And so, COVID comes rolling around in March, and things are slowing up, and restaurants we lose about 80% of the business in the restaurant. So we're like, okay, no big deal. We got the child cares. But it took 1 week to lose 60% of the child care.
Wow.
And so, that's when you start praying. You're like, oh, Lord, what's going on? Because before that, I'm just like, hey, everything's all right. I got child cares. My numbers are up. I'm doing good. And everybody was, COVID hit, so nobody was going to work. So people weren't taking their kids to child care. So we lost at least 60, maybe 65% of our numbers. We went from 600 meals all the way down to a little under 300. And that's a daily and stuff. And man, it was like, it was a challenge. And then no restaurant business, just the restaurant, just like, nope, nobody's going out to eat. So shut the restaurant down for a little bit and reopened it up. And one thing, it was a blessing because I had a chance to regroup. So you had to lay off people which you didn't want to. So we had a chance to restart things. So that helped. And then it took about 3 to 4 months. The child care numbers started growing, getting back. I wasn't necessarily worried about the restaurant because we were new, but child care, I've been doing child cares for 20 years next year. So we want to make sure that those numbers stay solid. That's the foundation of my business. So it took about 3 to 6 months for them numbers to start climbing. And once they steadied out, we're able to pay bills. Not necessarily where we want to be, but you want to be able to pay your bills and stuff. But it was definitely it was a challenge. It was a challenge of faith, determination. Just like we didn't come this far to give up or to quit, and now things are looking good. Things are looking good. But it was man, this COVID it's really, if I really said, I can't say what I want to use the word I want to use because I'm in the sanctuary, but it's been devastating. It's really been devastating.
Were you able to rehire those that you had to lay off?
Yes, we laid off. We were only able to bring back probably 50% of our employees. We kept all our delivery drivers, and the thing about it, to lose all that business, my delivery drivers never lost a paycheck. They never lost a dollar amount. They kept the same amount of money because even though the numbers were down, they still were making the same amount of deliveries. Mm-hmm. So they never lost a dime. And so I was really happy with that. And then we brought back a couple of other people, and what they had to do, you might have been doing one job before, but now you have to do 2 jobs, mm-hmm. which is not hard, but just to make everything work. And so that was good there. And that was what COVID has done. It just made you go back and assess things. How can we do this better? How can we do it more efficiently? Because if you look around now, and even to this day, you look at like McDonald's, they still are not letting people come in. There's a number of restaurants, but what they're doing is they're assessing how they can make things, how they can do things better, be more efficient. And that's what it did for me.
So, George, what adjustments to business operations would be required for your business if the federal minimum wage were increased to $15 per hour? Would this wage increase be feasible or not?
Now, I'm gonna speak for a lot of other restaurants because a lot of restaurants can't pay that. Mm-hmm. I already pay that.
Wow.
I already pay that because I want to keep my health. But I'm not saying that, for a pat on the back or anything. These people are so valuable to me. My delivery drivers, because, we have these child cares and they have to, I do 600 meals a day. We have 13 deliveries. 13 deliveries. They have to come to work every day because, there's only so much I can do. I have to cook, make sure that the food is ready for childcare. I had to make sure cheesecakes are ready. I had to make sure that the food is ready for the restaurant. We can't miss a beat. Everybody have to pull their weight. And so it's easier for me to pay. I look at them and say, hey, look here, you want to lose this check, you go right ahead. Somebody else is going to enjoy it because they make good money, and they make real good money. My tax person, she says, George, why do you pay these people this amount of money? Because they have to come to work every day. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. I cannot afford for absentees. Not one day. I can't. If you schedule a day and then I had to replace it, that's fine. But I cannot have you calling in saying, hey, I'm sick or this or no. We work Monday through Friday. You got Saturday and Sunday off. That's a must. That's a must. So I'm going to pay you. If you come to work for me, you're going to get paid good. You're going to get paid good.
Wow. That's awesome. Elizabeth, I'm going to come back to you. Since many low-wage workers still qualify for federal programs, would increasing the federal minimum wage outweigh the loss of those services?
I can see it going both ways. Yes, I'd like to make $15 an hour. It would be great, but I know that's never going to happen in my lifetime. I've accepted that. The lowest job I've ever had paid, I started working in nursing homes years ago. I'm pushing 60. And the lowest I was ever paid was a little over $3 an hour to start working in the nursing home. The most I ever made was up to $4, and that's been years ago. And I was just grateful just to get the $11 an hour now that I'm able to make. And that's probably as far as I'm going to go in the manager position that I've got. That's the highest paying that you're going to get. I'm not going to go any higher.
So in terms of federal programs, do you think that if they raised it to 15, would it outweigh the benefits of getting assistance from the federal government?
I really don't think so. Because the $15 an hour isn't going to happen. The federal government is not going to go that high.
Okay.
I know they've discussed it from what I've heard on TV. They're not going to raise the minimum wage that high because too many people will lose their jobs. People will have to close their businesses, and that's not going to help anybody.
Okay. Well, Sylvia, as large corporations achieve extraordinarily high profit levels and executive pay reaches new heights, is it appropriate to question whether large employers are passing off a portion of their societal responsibilities to taxpayers?
I would agree they are. I would agree they are. I'm gonna jump back to Miss Elizabeth here, if I can. Even though she doesn't qualify for some of the government agencies, there's still help out there for her. The gas company, you can fill out a form and they will help you on your gas. The electric company, you can fill out a form and they will help you. That's separate from any type of government entity. We have what they're called people, if you look on your bill and it'll say, do you want to donate $1, $5, $10? And it goes into a fund that when people are having hard times and they can't pay their bills, you fill out an application, you send it in, and they take the money from that fund. And Topeka is it's a giving town. You know, when there's a need, Topekans step right up. That's what I like. So that's why I say connecting the dots, there's help out there for her. You know, not just go down, apply for benefits, and doesn't qualify. Then, you know, some of our bigger corporations, what we've done, and I'll be honest with you, we have a new Walmart coming in, the distribution center. So we were able to get them to come to Topeka, and they're going to start out at $15.70. So what that is doing, and we talked a long time, the chamber talked to them, and what that's going to do is my little guy at Reese's, who he just raised his minimum wage, it's going to force him to raise it again, which it should be, because all of his employees, they're jumping over here to Walmart. So when Mars came in, and they're a privately owned company, when they came in, it was kind of funny because everybody jumped ship from Frito-Lay because they were paying, so they ran over here. Mm-hmm. So with us continuously talking to them and saying, this is what we need for our people, then to live comfortably, not luxury, but comfortably, then it's forcing some of our other corporations. They're giving sign-on bonuses. They're getting, because guess what? They're all flocking to Walmart. So Frito-Lay is struggling. Mars is struggling. You know, businesses are struggling. That's why I tell people, if you're going to change, this is the time, because they're looking for people. There's all kinds of jobs out there. What I will do before I leave is give Miss Elizabeth my card, and maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time you find an employer that appreciates your hard work and dedication. You know, sometimes that has to happen because you're worthy. Yep. You know what? I'm pushing 62, but I don't care. It don't matter. It don't matter. Everywhere you go, there's help wanted signs. Everywhere you go. And so I would like to work with you and see if we can get a resume together and just throw some resumes out there and you make that, but there's help out there for you. And so that's what we have to do. We have to stay on our bigger corporations and let them know. It's nice that you've come in. It's nice that we've given you incentives, but our people need jobs. They need jobs right now. And, you know, I keep saying, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do right now, but I'm trying to ask him, because at 60, you really should be in your career, you know, somewhere. You know, I'm one of them people that, you know, that just like to be, you know, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, and he's got me over here, you know, and I'm like, Lord, what is it you want me to do? Because you got me in too many places, and I'm too old. I'm ready to retire and sit down. But anyway, But there's help out there. There's help out there, and we will continue to put that on them because as elected officials, we are seeing what and hearing what our people need. And I think that's the biggest key is not turning a blind eye. But our residents aren't going to let us do that as well.
Okay. Well, first of all, Miss Sylvia, I love you. You're an awesome woman. Secondly, the fact that you want to hear from the population, your constituents. How do we talk to our representatives? Because I'll be totally honest, I don't even know what council I'm in. I don't know who my representative is.
What district you're in?
Yeah, what district
Okay.
I'm in. I have no idea. And I think that the majority of people don't know except for maybe when it's like election time, and then they don't know who they're voting for in the first place. I think there's a huge disconnect between us and the people who represent us. And you talked a lot about, you know, what's going on with Walmart and how competitive that is, which is wonderful, but a lot of people don't even know that that's a situation where they could get on to get a better job. So how do we do a better job communicating that to constituents all over the county? Because I think that there's just this silo that the people who know, but the people who don't know have no clue.
Yes, there is. You can call the council office, the city council office, and find out who your representative is. I think we got to get people to see who their representative is. It's amazing to me when there's issues out there, you know, they just pay their fines or because they think that's what they're supposed to do. And sometimes they're not, they're wrong and they shouldn't have to pay those fines. I've helped people recoup that money back, you know. But, you know, I really think it's important that everybody pay attention to government and that they try to figure out who their representative is. Where do you live at?
Over by 29th and Wanamaker.
29th and Wanamaker. I believe you would be Neil Dobler, but I'll find out and let you know. And find out who your representative is and find out what they represent for you and what they can do for you. If you email citycouncil@topeka.org, that goes to all of us. But we do have a secretary on staff. Find out who your commissioners are because, you know, we're in the county. The city's in the county, and so you'll need to know that as well. It's hard to get people to pay attention to their government until they have a problem. And sometimes even then, they don't want to come up and speak or say anything. You know, so it's really, really hard. And they think that their voice is not going to be heard. They think that their vote is not going to be heard. I know you didn't mention this. I'm the longest standing council member. I'm celebrating. I didn't think you did.
I didn't. I'm sorry. We had to cut.
I know. She cut my bio there. She cut me out. I'm celebrating 16 years this year. And I believe it's only because I like the challenge and I call everybody back and I try to do the best job that I can do for them. You know, so those irate people, those are the first people I call back. I like that challenge.
I know you do.
Yeah. You know, and most of the time when you call them back, they just want to vent. They hear you. They understand. So.
Okay. George, do you see the potential for increased consumer spending because of increasing the federal minimum wage as something that could mitigate the negative effects on your business?
The spending, it's coming. I can see it. I can feel it. They're starting to spend. People are starting to spend. I don't know where they're getting the money from, but they're starting to spend. And I don't know, like, one thing about people, they're going to spend money whether the minimum wage is up to 15 or whether it's down where it's at now. People are going to spend. They're selective at what they spend, but they're going to spend. And one thing about Topeka, I don't know if we can just throw a number out there, like if there's a federal number out there for a minimum wage. I don't know if we can do that. I do believe our minimum wage should go up, but I don't know if we can just say, okay, there's a federal, because everybody's living conditions in each city is different, each area of the country, and we have it's a little bit lower here. But people need to make more money, and they should, because some of the jobs that they're working, I mean, you know, when you're just working day to day and you're worried about if you spend $5, you don't have enough for gas, and you got to have gas to get to work, and then you're worried about it. Say if your car breaks down, and you know, and your car repairs is a lot of money, but yeah. But the money, people, getting back to what your question was, I see that people are starting to spend. They're starting to spend a little more money now with this COVID letting up. But inflation is getting us now, because I don't know if anybody's been in the grocery store and looked at ground beef this last week. So that's hurting, you know, and nobody had said, you know, it was chicken there for a minute, and now it's trickled over to ground beef, and so you gotta really be on top of things. And me, I'm a professional shopper because that's what I do. And it just, when I went in there Monday, because I'm in there every day, but I was in there Friday, brought ground beef at the regular price. But then when I went in there Monday, because I had to make lasagna, and I don't usually have sticker shock. I just grabbed it, I looked, I said, is this real? I mean, it went up double.
Yeah.
Ground beef went up double. And so for people that are struggling financially, well, they wouldn't be able to buy ground beef, because how can you buy a 5-pound chub for regularly, I think it's 8, but then it goes up to 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went up double. And I was like, because I'm getting a 10-pound at 16, and now it's 34.
Wow.
I was like, what is this? And I looked, I was like shaking my head. I was like, oh, what is this? And it's crazy, because now you're dealing with inflation. So it's going to be one of those things until things stable out a little bit. And this is still the effects of COVID, though. COVID is still hanging around, and that's the work of the enemy. We just got to get rid of him. And but it's hurting us, because even if people make more money, if we don't get that inflation down, and then you're having people, terrorists, that hurt, because our gasoline went up. It's just a number of things, even if you're making more money. And then they hit the gasoline, then they hit the food plants. And so you can make more money, but if you can't, if you're still struggling. Yeah, you're still struggling.
I'm going to throw this out because somebody had asked me to put out there that they were having an employer fair at their particular restaurant several weeks ago, because they just couldn't get any people to want to take a job. And he told me, this particular assistant manager of this restaurant said that another assistant manager of a restaurant in town had taken her tax money and taken the check that we got for COVID and decided to quit for 4 months and just enjoy a holiday, because she was able to make more doing that and enjoying herself than she was in her business as the assistant manager of this restaurant. So what do you do to get all of the vacancies filled when more people are making more being out of jobs than they are actually having a job. And I'll throw this out to everybody.
Well, as a restaurant owner, yeah, that hurts, and a lot of the restaurants are dealing with that because once again, it's service. It's service. We're service. We're in service industry, and service industry is so wide, and when they threw that money out, a lot of people didn't go back to work, and so it's hurting, and it's hurting the businesses, and now people want to come back to the restaurants, and the restaurants are getting busier, but then you don't have enough help to take care of your customers in some cases. But for me, what I did was I try to pay my people a good wage to where they weren't enticed by that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did from the beginning. I'm paying you a good wage, and I'm not holding it over you. I'm not saying, hey, I pay you this kind of money, and looky here, no. Flat out, when they come in, I tell them straight up, this is what you make. This is good money. You're making good money part-time here, because I got a couple full-time workers, and they make real good money. And then the part-time people make real good money too, because most people work 2 jobs. And most people are looking for that perfect part-time job where they're not really sweating, but they're doing something. And that's the kind of setup I have. So I try to alleviate all of that. And so that's how I've been able to get around it. Just pay people, treat people with respect, because this is all I've ever done. I know the service industry. This is all I've ever done. I have not ever done anything else. So I know what you're thinking. I know what you're dealing with. So we can work together. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna treat you good, and that's how I've been able to get around that. And I've been blessed, and that's just the bottom line, because every time I needed a good employee to come in, I never had to really look. That it just happened. So guy leaves, somebody would come in and replace him, and has never been any tension. So I've been really blessed.
Okay, Sylvia, Elizabeth, you want to answer?
Well, what I try to do is I try to educate them. And what I mean by that is there is a whole bunch of businesses that signed a petition that sent it to the governor to say take away their unemployment benefits so they can get back to work, so the economy can get back to going. And so what I let them know is, again, this is a perfect time to find a job, any job, because it's not going to always be like that. And I let them know that your unemployment is getting ready to end. It will end soon. It will end sometime. So you're not going to have that. And if you're spending that on day to day, you don't have anything. Me and George was talking about this, to put in the back, to put in reserve, and then you're going to find it hard because you're going to eventually start competing with people that are out there that are looking for jobs. And we're going to get there. We don't know when, but we're going to get there. What I did here was, if you're on unemployment, in order to continue to be on unemployment, they will pay for your child care, and you have to register with Commerce and get a job. And they try to find you a job, which I think it's really, really good, because now you have women out of work that have children, so they do need child care. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's good that they'll do that, and then they'll also try to help them get a job. And so that's what I try to do from the government's part, is try to educate them, because, they're going to look up and they're going to miss the boat, because at some point people are going to start going back to work because they have to. Yep. Not because they want to, but because they have to. And it's been a nice little spread and a nice little vacation, but you got to start over and you got to get back in the groove. And so I try to educate them and let them know, if you're looking, Even if you go back part-time, just do something, because eventually it's going to dry up again. Right now you can get almost any job you want. I just hate to see them miss that boat.
I agree. Elizabeth, you have anything you want to share with that?
I'll just a lot of places that I've personally worked, well, where I'm working right now, we go through so many people that it's not a real welcoming environment, because we go through so many people. You can't get used to that one person working there, and for no reason at all, they just don't show up for work. That makes it hard on everybody else. There's days I've worked where it's just been me in the deli and our manager working the register. She's got to be able to do the books. She can't leave the register to do the books. Not when she's got a line from the register clear to the back to the store to the coolers. One of our policies is that when you start for the first 30 days, you cannot call in, because that is when your employer is judging how you work, how you show up to work, and how you perform on the job. Within 2 or 3 days, they're calling in sick, saying they can't come to work. We don't have people to fill that position, so we have to work short, and that affects our customers, because the customers see that. And unless you're a regular customer, they're not going to come back when you can't give them what they want when they come into your business. You have to have the people there. Because in the deli, I have one other person. We want to get a third person, because we used to run 24 hours in our deli. We can't do that because we can't get the help. And that shows in our profits. There's been days that I've worked, I haven't even made $200 in the deli.
Wow.
And they go by how much we make in our profit in our deli for raises, for extra help. If I can't get the extra help, being the manager, I have to put in the extra hours, and they don't like to pay past 39 hours. So if I go past 39 hours, I lose those hours. So that doesn't help me.
You don't get overtime?
Huh?
You don't get overtime?
They don't like to pay overtime. We're not, Quick Shop used to be owned by Kroger. We're not owned by Kroger anymore. We were sold out to a foreign company. Last I understood, they're from England. They don't know nothing about this part of the country. They're completely foreign. They're just whatever. So it's hard for us to find help. We have help. I go home from work, I see these people out with signs, give me money for rent, you're right by a business with a great big sign that says hire, go in and get a job. Don't stand out and beg. Those people make me upset, because I work for every dollar that I bring home. I don't have the money to give to you because I need that for myself.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Do you agree that increasing the minimum wage would encourage better and harder work and increase morale for workers?
Better pay will bring better morale and better people to your business that want to work and put in the time to make that money.
I know that I've seen several businesses that weren't able to compensate in terms of adding additional dollars to somebody's check, but they would do other things in terms of perks. What do you think about that? Like, maybe they can't add to your bottom line, but they could do special things to make you all feel, appreciated throughout the day. Is that something that would be beneficial, or is that just basically
Well,
Nothing.
every now and then, the corporate will send us, it's just for the employees only. We get a little coupon deal. I don't have it with me right now, where we can get different things for free, like soda, candy, water, whatever they put on the coupon. That's only for the employees. So if you want a snack or something, it's something that don't have to come out of your pocket,
Okay.
which is nice.
I would say, do those things help morale?
Yeah, there's a lot of the things that are in the coupons I don't use, but I can share with whatever other employees are there that like that particular item. I don't worry that much about it because working there, if I want coffee, they don't charge me for coffee. They don't charge me for a fountain drink, so I don't worry about it that much. If there's something I want, I get it.
That's the least they can do, girl. Just saying. Sylvia, I've got a loaded question for you. Actually, I loaded 2 questions for you. So you like a challenge, so here you go. So 20 states and 26 cities made the move to increase minimum wage rates for their citizens. However, Kansas is among the remaining states who paid the federal minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. Many states that have increased the minimum wage are those with higher costs of living. Since Kansas's cost of living is less than some of those states, would you support increasing the minimum wage in Kansas to a lesser rate than the $15 per hour being proposed in the Raise the Wage Act of 2021 that is currently before Congress?
No,
Okay.
I would not.
Okay, and explain why.
Well, when I hear Elizabeth's story, and I've been there before, that is not going to get it. You know, people to really get by, they need at least $15, you know. And if they have children, you know, it's just not going to get it. Really, to live not even over the top, just decently, it has to be $15, you know, or we're going to rent places that aren't acceptable. We're going to get the necessities, and then you're going to see people choose, and they're already choosing, you know, between their health care, I see it all the time, people that can't afford their medicine, so it's food or medicine. And you need both.
Yes.
You know, it says on there, take with food. You need both. And so you have to have that minimum wage. You have to have it. It has to be a part of it.
And then I could go off into a whole other conversation about the kinds of foods that people would buy in terms of what you can afford, which, you know, tend to be chips and junk food because they're cheaper as opposed to the healthier foods that are needed, which are more expensive. But that's a whole other conversation that I will spare everybody from tonight. So let me ask you another question, Sylvia. You're not off the hook yet. So if the minimum wage increases in Kansas, how could Topeka mitigate the reduction of low-skilled jobs, which would disproportionately affect younger and minority workers? Should provisions like expanding the earned income tax credit and increasing job training to accompany the wage hike be left out of this bill?
No, I don't think so. I think the job training and the tax credit should be left in, you know, so they can get that boost. You know, a lot of people, they expect that and they look for that.
Okay.
You know, so.
We actually have plenty of time for audience questions. So if anybody would like to ask a question, please come up to the mic and share with us. And we're all family, so don't feel shy.
Is it on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Awesome. Hi, guys. It's awesome to see such a diverse group of people up here. So I am a single mom who was blessed to be able to go home to work and stay. So COVID didn't affect me like some people who I'm really good friends with, right? So you were saying that with COVID, people were reevaluating things, right? And so a lot of people said, you know what, I'm gonna quit my job because I am getting more money, right? And then they started reevaluating their home lives a little bit more. Like, okay, I was going to work every single day, working for this minimum wage, working for the people, and they weren't feeling valued and important, right? So as people are still at home now and making that decision that families are more important, what they're doing at home, their relationships with people are more important, how does that look for in government, as well as you've kind of talked about it a little bit at your where you're at in your business, but how does that look to really encourage people to, I know you said you educate, but even with the education that, hey, you want to jump on the boat to get these jobs that are out here, when people are reevaluating that their family and that time was more important at this point than going back to a 725. Maybe they don't have the skilled labor portion. Maybe they're disabled and they can't go to those labor jobs. So then the only jobs that are out here at this point are still those 725. So how do we encourage people to really start going back to work unless that wage increases? Like, what is your guys' plan for that?
Well, if you look, there's people out there, thank you for the question, first of all. There's people out there that want to work from home, and right now there's businesses out there that are giving people incentives to work from home, and they're paying more because it's costing them less. They don't. Even the state is thinking about. They're thinking about not having their people come in anymore. They're thinking about letting them work from home. They're seeing better productivity. They're seeing more productivity because they're not at work. Like me and George's wife, we used to meet in the break room, probably go over our break. But that was just a ritual that we had, you know. And she'd be like, "You want some of George's cake?" And I'm like, "Yes, Lord," you know. So that's my sister right there. But anyway, you know, so I don't have that no more. So now I'm at home working, you know, I'm there. They're on time because they get up and flip a switch on the computer, so they're on time. They wear what they want to wear. So what the state is doing now is they're going to make what they call traveling pods. So you don't even have a queue. They're telling everybody to take their stuff home, and they found the sick rate has gone down, you know, because now you're not coming in getting sick with everybody, you're at home. And they're finding people are showing up to work even when they have a sick kid. So I can put my kid over here in bed sick, and, you know, I can still be on my computer. And so they're finding just it's a better fit. And so now you're finding there's jobs out there that want people to work from home. And they're easily skilled jobs. You know, that you can come in and make appointments from people. I was talking to a lady the other day with my electricity bill, and I heard a dog bark, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I'm working from home, you know." And so I said, "That's okay, you know. Anymore when you make those calls, because I'm really old school. I don't like to do the automation. I like to get a person on the phone, you know." And so anymore, all those people are working from home from their computers, and they love it. They like it. And I think that's going to be the new norm. So these people that are making $725 or low incomes, I think if they go and look for those jobs that they're doing, or something that, again, we can educate them or teach them, then they'll work from home. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like this at all, you know, working from home, because that's kind of me, where I get up and get away. That's my work is my getaway, you know. And if that makes any sense. But now that I've been home, I tell you what, I can master them beans now. I throw on that pot of beans. I can make a mean pot of beans. And I tell you what, I can throw them beans on. I know how much water they need, how much time they need. You know what? And the laundry is done. I can take a break. And women are liking that. They're liking that they're home with their kids and they're, you know, I've had some grandkids dropped off because, you know, they were sick or mom had to go to appointment or whatever she called herself doing. But, you know, so I think that's going to be the new norm. And I think employers are going to pay more because now, guess what? I don't have to pay up for a spot for them to be at, to air condition, you know, house them and all of that. You know, their supplies are going to go down, you know, because, you know, you don't have all that. So that's what I look for. So I will continue to educate and continue to tell people there's a lot of people that are hiring because they don't want to come in for COVID and they don't want to come in, you know, to be sick or whatever. I didn't have a cold this year. I was grateful. Not one cold. And I said, they can laugh at me, but I'm going to continue to wear my mask. You know, so it's been a good thing. You know, I could sit there and go through my papers, you know, on them Zoom calls. They don't know what I'm doing. I'm going through papers and throwing them out and writing my, you know. So I think that'll be the new norm. And we'll have to raise the minimum wage or their wages. That was a great question.
Wow. Thank y'all guys for everything you shared. And as I listened, one of the things that I heard that Mr. Kearse was sharing about what he pays an hour already over and above, which we didn't know that when we invited you to be a part of the panel. And then just hearing you, Councilwoman Ortiz, share your view and Elizabeth. But what I found, like even when it came to law enforcement, where there was a time when, you know, and it's still one of those things where people are like, well, we need to make some changes to qualified immunity, right? But they would come to council meetings asking about qualified immunity, and the council can't do anything about qualified immunity, right? And so part of what it does is it diminishes a valid concern that someone may have in their credibility because the research and the knowledge wasn't done to understand the proper steps to take to maybe even see some of the changes they wanted to take. And so when we get in a case like this where we're saying we have a business owner that said, I value my employees enough to pay them a living wage. We have an employee that says, man, this would be a game changer, but I don't even, it's like, man, I want to have hope for you, Elizabeth, that like $15 it is possible. And then to hear a city elected official that says, yes, this is needed, and we're trying to make this push with companies that come. But then to hear Danielle say, we're still lagging behind as a state. There's some things that the federal government have to do, but then there's some leeway that we can do as a state on the state level with minimum wage. But I think is that education piece again the education is not only around what I do for a living in a career, but it's also how to work with government and saying like, how do people in our community start to learn how to bring about and be a part of the change they want to see in their community? Because even on the issue like this, I feel like a lot of people are going to hear what you say and be like, see, even Councilwoman Ortiz said this, and they're going to be at the next council meeting thinking that now the city council can change the minimum wage for Topeka, and it doesn't work like that. And they're going to be shouting at people that can't even make the change possible. So, man, if y'all could share just a little bit about if someone's passionate about this topic, what does a next step look like for them to be a part of helping that change come about? Because that ultimately, we do govern our country, we the people. So how do we become a part of that process?
Well, what I would say is they would need to, if it was me, I mean, I can't change it at my level, the local level. And Jonathan's right. I have so much power. They come and say I can do all this stuff, and I'm not doing it. But I have to remind myself up there that I'm powerless. I'm only one vote, and I'm powerless. And so I usually try to let them know, that, at the local level, we can't change it. If we could, it would be changed. I know my colleagues and I know how they feel. But what I would do is put a petition together and then do some research and then get on the state level and the federal level and call your elected officials and tell them this is what you want. That's how you get change done. That's how you get it done. But so many people are misled, like Jonathan was talking about the qualified immunity. Gentleman spoke at the state level, and then they took that, what he said, and then they brought it to the local level, and they believed what he said. They didn't do their research, and they believed what he said. Luckily, I knew the young man, and I called him, and I said, baby, I said, your research was right on time, but it was wrong. We can't do anything about that. That comes 2 layers above me. And he was thankful for that, but he was so passionate about that. And so we just gotta get a group of people that are really concerned. I applaud JUMP. I really, really do, because they have some issues, or not issues, but they have some topics that has issues that they're really passionate about. But you got to do your research, and then you got to come out in numbers. And so, if there's a pothole in the street and nobody's coming to me saying anything about it, I'm not going to do anything about it. But when they come out in numbers and say, how come you ain't fixed that pothole, then I need to jump on it. But 9 times out of 10, I'm riding down that same street, so I'm reporting it before it can get to me. So that's what we got to do. We got to band together for our low to moderate income families, and we got to do our research, and we have to get on the federal level and challenge them and bring that challenge to them. And thank you, Jonathan, for bringing that up.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, come up to the microphone, hon. Oh, we'll bring it to you. No, that's fine. She has a comment for you, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. I just want to say you have manager experience, so you have the world at your feet. So you can legit work anywhere. Like, legit, like, if you put together a resume, you would be, like, golden, because Target pays $15 for, like, their regular employees. But as you go up, you can make more. And then also Walmart, I think, was just looking for a manager. And so, like, you can legit work anywhere, be a manager. You can turn your cash handling experience into banking. So, like, so you can do a lot with the experience you have, so you don't really have to settle with them, because, like, you're like the bomb. So I'm just saying, you have a great experience. And then also to you guys, like, to Jonathan's, like, question and answer, what question? I am a Pathways grant coordinator, and we are working on family-friendly workplaces. And so we're trying to, it's defined as policies that help balance, that benefit both work and family life. So that kind of incorporates the flexible schedule. It gives them, like, flex time, temporary, for, like, breastfeeding when you're pregnant and stuff like that. I'm really bad at public speaking. But we have that package, and we also have funding for companies to take up that those policies. And so that it will really help people, especially when it comes to flexible schedules. So with a flexible schedule, it allows basically employers to know that their employees are doing their work, so they can be able to work with their kids and then also get their work done. So it's like a great work-life balance. So I just want to throw that out there, that we are working on a family-friendly workplace policies for companies in Shawnee County. So yes. Pathways grant is from Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's an initiative through them. They want to do, like, a healthier Kansas, and through that grant, they would like to, like, attack social determinants of health through healthy eating, active living, and then also tobacco and cessation. And so through that package, they have that grant. They have different activities that we can implement with different funding, where we can help people come alongside different businesses and stuff like that, so that we can help them impact systemic changes. So I just want to let you guys know that we are trying to work on that. And then also, I do have a question for Sylvia. Mm-hmm. So I noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs have popped up lately. So especially in the younger generation, how do you think we're going to be able to combat that, especially with like, I know OnlyFans is not really for like, you know, the inappropriate stuff, but you can do OnlyFans, you can legit do a Nike sign, and like you can call Nike and get their logo and like pay to get their logo and paste it on stuff, and you can sell that stuff. People are selling a lot of like things going like, they have a lot of boutiques going on right now, and for like vacationing and things like that. So how do you see businesses competing with that in the future, especially like Walmart and the low like places where like teenagers and like young adults usually go to, like, you know, because that entrepreneurship is really like rising with COVID.
So you're asking me, how do I see that going?
Yeah, how do you see that going for Topeka, and how do you see that like affecting businesses moving forward?
Well, I think entrepreneurs, if they want help, they can go through the chambers. And the chambers, they educate them, or they pair them up with small businesses to try to show, like, you know, how Mr. George is making it, to think outside the box. Mm-hmm. I myself, I like to support the entrepreneurs. You know, I call them the mom and pop shops as well, but I think it's good, and I tell you why. We've got some talented young people. Now, I'm gonna tell you how young is young, because I'm about to hit 59, but I think like in 40s area, we've got some talented people, and they're thinking outside the box. You know, they're doing things that you've never even thought of, you know, and that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Plus, they have all this new technology. You know, my daughter loves G's cheesecake. I mean, she loves G's cheesecake. And when he opened up his business, you mind if I share this, George? When he opened up his business, she got on Facebook, and she's like, I think she took a picture of it. I don't know, but it spread like a wildfire, even to George's daughter, who is up in Tennessee, right? Yep. And she's like, who in the heck is this? You know, supporting my daddy, you know. And she had told my daughter, or, you know, she messenger or whatever you guys do. She's like, who is this? Are you related to us? And she goes, no, I just love your dad. And so that's what I'm saying. You guys have so much that we didn't have. You know, we relied on the paper, the TV, and now it's just crazy. Now, let me tell you what else that they're planning on doing. Some of her and her friends, they're crazy like that. They're going to do this summer, they're going to start, and they're going to get entrepreneurs or minority businesses, and they're going to send out an email blast. And they're going to say, hey, everybody on Thursday night, or Thursday, let's hit George's Cheesecake, because he's going to be in there, I'm sure. And so they're going to show what they've got. And guess what? When people see that food, and I tell you, it's worked for me too. I've seen that food, and I went running over there to see what they had, or the flavor wagon, you know, or over here. And so they have opportunities that we didn't have. And keep it up. And that's how that'll continue to be alive, is because they're continuously thinking outside their box, and then they share them with their friends, and they share them with their friends, and they share them with their friends, and it's just awesome. It's just awesome. So that's how they'll stay alive, because we have a different generation of kids.
I guess my question was, how is small business are going to compete with people who can actually have their own business online? Now, anyone can be a business person online. You can be a YouTube person and get ads and have a whole bunch of, get a lot of money from that. So how are small businesses and
now
going to compete with that?
I do order online I'm a person, I like to go in the store and I like to see it. So you still have some of us people that will continue to go in there. you know, I like to see what I wear, so I don't order a lot of clothes online. I like to, see what I'm going to do. It'll be okay, but it's the change of the century too. I mean, that's what everybody's doing. Some entrepreneurs have got their business online, and then you can go in the store. They've done both. So, I get that. It seems like it's slowly going there. When I look at our little old mall out there, and I think, Lord, what happened out there?
No joke.
I'm sorry.
No, that's real. That's totally real.
I went out in Ghost Town, and it's sad. It's really, because I'm a visual person. Yeah, I'm a visual person.
And I used to come to Topeka back in the day, and we were so excited when Westridge opened up, because I lived in Salina, and so obviously we didn't have that kind of mall in Salina. It's like, oh, we're going to Westridge, and then that's also when the Hypermart was open, as we all remember, with everybody roller skating across to get different things, but that's dating me as well, so I won't go there. Are there any other questions from the audience? So what we're going to do is say thank you to our panelists. Thank you all for being with us and providing your wisdom and just being transparent and sharing tonight. That's just awesome. And Jonathan, I'm going to turn it back to you to close us out.
Yes, for sure. Thank y'all guys so much, each and every one of you, for coming and being vulnerable and candid. I mean, these questions that you were being asked are not easy things. It's not easy to be in front of a group of people, to be online and share how you feel about different topics that are difficult. So we thank each and every one of you. Mr. Kearse, man, we were back there saying maybe we need to go get a part-time job with you after hearing you share about how you treat your employees. And I think that's something that no matter what size of organization we lead, that we can learn from. Councilwoman Ortiz, thank you for your heart for our community and what you're doing and trying to help connect the dots. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for how you serve and are a part and contribute to our community. And then Danielle, thank you so much for moderating tonight. Yeah. Tonight was a part of a week-long celebration. There's certain things that I never thought I would see. Even when I was in elementary school, I remember certain kids would say, you know what, one day I want to be president. And I had teachers that said, a black person will never be a president in this country. And then today, I think it was approved that Juneteenth is going to become a national holiday. And so this is a part of a week-long celebration. And so tomorrow down at Evergy Plaza, I think starting at 5:30, a concert is going to be held in honor of Juneteenth. And then from noon to 10 p.m. on Saturday at the Hi-Crest Park and Community Center, there'll be a Juneteenth celebration. And so I encourage you to go take part in those. To learn more, if you're not familiar with Juneteenth, I happen to move up from the place where Juneteenth originated to move to Topeka. And so there's a lot of history there. And so just take part in that. Go out and learn, have some conversations, dig in, because that's where we grow at. It's around times like that. Once again, thank you for being a part of this and coming out or viewing online tonight. And have a blessed evening.